Hey girls, welcome to another episode of High Energy Girl, and I'm super excited to introduce you to the sweetest guest. Her name is Sabrina Zielinski, and her husband is Dr. Eric Zielinski. It was pretty funny actually though, because Sabrina and I had so much to talk about that we kind of crowded out Dr. Z. So he is going to come on the show next week. And Sabrina is affectionately known as Mama Z. She is a home birth mom of 4 and a natural health guru. She is the mastermind behind the allergy-friendly food recipes and DIY remedies featured on their website. And that website is naturallivingfamily.com. And she's also a certified group fitness instructor, a health coach, and a beauty pageant trainer. She's absolutely gorgeous. And Sabrina's vast background in natural living has helped her empower thousands of women to reach their true potential in Christ. So let's go and say hi to Mama Z. Welcome to High Energy Girl, a podcast helping women to age stronger, because it is never too late to get fit, be strong, and feel sexy. I'm your host, Tracy Gluheich, health coach and personal trainer, and founder of highenergygirl.com. Each week, we will either have a guest interview, which will provide you an actionable tip to help you age stronger, or I will do a solo episode that we will have a fun challenge for the month. Please also join our Facebook group, High Energy Girls. Looking forward to seeing you on the inside. Hope you enjoy the show. Give a woman a fish, feed her for a day. Teach a woman to fish, feed her for a lifetime. Teach a woman to fish, end world hunger. Have you ever wanted to help people improve their health journey? Have you thought about coaching people with a keto lifestyle? Would you like to become an integrative health coach? Well, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, or IIN as we call it, is the largest nutrition school in the country. And in 2011, I graduated from their program and became a health coach. It was completely awesome. We learned over 100 different dietary theories and talk about craziness and confusion. My wish for you is that we can lock arms and create a tribe of health coaches all around the country, all around the world to spread the keto message. If this resonates with you and you would like to look into this option deeper, please go to my blog at highenergygirl.com and click on the link to the right of the homepage. Here you can grab the curriculum guide and see if it inspires you. Since I care so much about my listeners, I negotiated the very best tuition rate for you at IIN. Either you can contact them directly and give them my name, or I will introduce you to a counselor so you can decide if this is a good fit for you and your career goals. Let me know how I can support you in this coaching career opportunity. Hey, Dr. Z and Mama Z, so excited to have you on the show today.
Yeah, so excited to be here.
Yeah, we can't wait.
Well, I can't wait because I was reading a little bit about you guys and the books you have coming out, or the book with the essential oils and all the wonderful health projects you guys have. So I can't wait to learn from you. So
hey, we're here to teach.
Yeah, that's good. I'm here to learn. That's one of the selfish pieces I have, is I get to have firsthand knowledge and just suck up all of the information from, wonderful guests like you guys. So for the listeners that don't know you yet, will you just let us know a little bit about you?
Yeah, so, when we met, how long ago has it been?
We met in 2004, right? 2005?
Dude, where are you?
No, 2006.
Yeah, we met, and, it was kind of like two gentle streams colliding and creating a little bit of rapids. We were both on our own spiritual and health journeys, and I was all about health. I was eating to live, having control, where I was not eating anything sweet or tasty. It was all about rice cakes and collard greens all the time. And jokingly, everything I ate was green or brown. And Sabrina always makes fun of me, but Sabrina was all about the culinary aspect. And she was all about flavor and balancing this whole, people like to enjoy their food too. And I was like, well, no, food is a tool. It's a tool to feed my temple. So it was really fun because I had a dramatic health and spiritual transformation, and food was a big part of it. I just needed to get control of that. So the last 15 years, or so. We've just been, ever since our own individual journeys, but since we've been married now almost 13 years, it's just been fun. We've been developing classes together and teaching people, and we have a global online health ministry that reaches more than 6 million people a year and climbing. And so it's just an honor and a privilege to share this message with people.
And one of the things, Tracy, that was kind of crazy is, we were doing well, financially and other things when we were first married. But our passion, we really felt our passion get ignited for health together as we aligned, and the doors opened for, my husband to come down to Georgia and get his doctorate. And I'll tell you, there's a huge difference between, making great money and actually finding your passion, the reason why you're on this planet, and being able to fulfill it and to fulfill it together.
I love that you said that. That is what I believe, is that everybody here was created for a purpose, and everyone has a voice, and a lot of the experiences that we have, suffered through, all the trials have prepared us for something greater.
Well, and I myself, just like you, had been through eating disorders. My family, their gene pool tends to be on the heavier side. And, watching them go through all of this stuff, and, food, we didn't eat to live, we lived to eat. But, there was a whole different mindset and change. And I actually developed food allergies and other things like that I didn't really understand inflammatory foods until I met my husband. But because my mom was a culinary food expert, being able to take family recipes, change them, interchange them to be anti-inflammatory, taste good, and also have it be good for your body was amazing.
So are you like a chef?
No, I'm not a chef. My mom is a culinary herbalist. I traveled with her, and I was at all of her speaking engagements. I helped her publish cookbooks. And so I've been around food and presentation of it for a long time. But again, what I was eating was not healthy.
Oh, and then what happened? How'd you flip that over?
Well, I realized that even if I ate out somewhere, I would feel really bad. And then I started to do tests on my body, because we're supposed to, once we can hear our body and just be intuitive to our bodies, we start to pick up on things, and we know certain things are bothering them. And I knew that there was something better. And so I started knocking things off one at a time. And my husband, meeting him, actually finished the rest of the plan. I knew dairy was a sensitivity for me. I knew that gluten wasn't good, but I didn't know what to substitute those kind of things with. And some of those things like that, but also just the mindset. I had done a 10-day water fast and got off of all the prescription drugs that I was on. And I know not, everybody's called to do that, but before I met him, that happened. And I will tell you, doing that 10-day water fast changed my life. And I was much more open to all the things that my husband implanted to me when we met.
Okay, so we got to back up. So you're young.
Yes.
What kind of medications were you on at a young age?
I know. It was, I had gotten off of one by that time, but I was on a total of 10. I was on birth control. I was on ADHD medicine. I was on allergy medicine, and then allergy medicine that didn't fill in the gaps of that allergy, and then another one, and then stomach medication, and then something to counteract that. So it was just a slew of other things that, essential oils were so powerful. And I grew up in a home where my mom's best friend was an Ojibwa Indian. So she did a lot of holistic and medicinal medicine. And so we knew of that kind of stuff, and we used that kind of stuff, but not in the way that we do now.
Okay. So you totally changed that. You got off your medication. And how did you do that exactly? I feel like we're missing a big piece of your story.
Yeah. So so I also had a very a transformation, just a spiritual transformation, and really becoming a Christian was a huge part of that. And doing a 10-day water fast, my pastor talked about the dynamics of fasting, and actually Isaiah 58 in the Bible and all the promises that go along with fasting. And so I really did a spiritual fast. I made right relationships that weren't right. I just really prayed and just seeked God. And during that time, I literally had my body was going through a detox process. And at that point, I was just really reaching out to God, and I knew eating out was not an option anymore because I knew I would get sick. So I just I prayed over my hands, and I asked God to show me exactly what I needed to do, because I was down to eating about 4 different kind of foods that did not make me sick. So when I met my husband, he was eating everything green and brown, just like he said. And so I started by eating salad and doing, just getting really back to the basics. And then once I was really through a healing transformation, not just with my stomach, because I started doing colon therapy and other holistic methods that really helped to not just, clean up the insides, but also the damage that some of those prescription drugs had done. Mm-hmm. But then also, nourishing my body and then learning about those things. And really, once I felt healed, I really started to look at some of our family recipes that were so popular and take out the inflammatory ingredients, the wheat, the sugar, the gluten, mm-hmm. the preservatives, the dairy, the soy, the corn, all that stuff out of there, and then put different ingredients in. And, 15 years ago, there was not the things that they have available today, and they didn't make it as easy. So we actually drove 2 hours to go to the health food store once a month just to get the things that we needed in order to live.
Wow. That's commitment. That is commitment. And I totally agree with you. I mean, I was born in 65. Okay. So okay. I was raised on, SpaghettiOs and meatballs and canned in boxes, like everything. And so, that's how I actually raised my kids. And I didn't start studying nutrition until 2007. And, boy, did I change things up around this house. So now you're fast. Okay, so can we talk a little bit about that? Because that's something that I love the idea. So many people fast for, physical reasons, but I love the spiritual aspect of what you were just saying. So is this something you did as like a church body, or is this something you did on your own? What led you to that?
What led me to that is, the pain of eating bad foods it wasn't worth it anymore. Uh-huh. And I'll tell you, I had a student once who was in an abusive marriage, and she told me she knew that it was time to leave when she feared the unknown much less than the known. And I remember that. And I remember that feeling because this wasn't an option anymore. It was not about whether it was going to be, what I'm eating day to day. This is about being healthy and living well. And I knew it was attainable. I watched other people do it. I've seen other people be healthy, and it was about being on a journey in order to conquer the things that had gone bad in the past, do better than what my parents had done, and try to help, because eventually I wanted to have children. I didn't know it was going to be as soon as I ended up having children. Of course, it's always, in God's timing. So it ended up really being about the future. And, once you get beyond the struggles that you've had, whether it's eating disorders, other things like that, because that was a huge part of it. I really feel that you'll be able to take a platform and be able to help and minister to other people about the things that you've gone through after you've gone through it. Mm-hmm. And I knew that God had something more for me in that way. And I just didn't know what it was, but I knew I was going to find out.
Oh, that's so cool. And then, so did the fast come first, or did you meet Dr. Z first?
The fast came first. Okay. I did the fast. It was in 2004. It was in 2005. And so it was about a year before I met him. And, I just started learning about, and I did all kinds of tests to see, is dairy really a problem? Is sugar really a problem? And, so I would basically overdose on these things to see what would happen. Yeah. And it was not pretty. And even my mom saw the difference. She said one time when I had, when I was testing the sugar theory out, that it looked like someone had punched me in the face, and just the way that my face looked, the puffiness, all of this stuff. And I'm like, this cannot be good. So at that time, what was popular was Splenda. And so I
yeah.
thought, you know what? I'm going to try this Splenda thing. And it did not work well with me either. So I was like, well, that's not an option. So I knew that honey was good. Like I had good effects with honey. And so I at least had started the transformation. And then when I met Eric, all of the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. And my pantry was literally transformed at that time.
Oh, that's awesome. And Splenda, oh my gosh, that was such a big, I don't know. I thought it was healthy at one time, and then you find out it like destroys your gut microbiome and all kinds of other things. Okay. So and then what happened? So you met Dr. Z and
you know, like and this is a cute story, but kind of fun. But so my pastor at the time said, so if you look around this church and all you see is a bunch of nerds, then you pray that God bring your husband in to this church. And so, you know, I was a newer Christian and I watched him do it for my friends, and I started praying that God would bring my husband to the church. And then one day I looked over and I saw this guy, and I was sitting with this older lady, and I said, who is that? He is hot. And she goes, oh, I think he's with that youth group over there. And I thought, well, he looked older than youth group. He looked kind of like possibly my age. And so I, you know, in the process of this, and I had really prayed that God would use me to help people. And one of the things I remember the still small voice saying is, you need to clean up the toilets in your own life before you help other people clean up toilets, the toilets in their life. And so I signed up for the toilet team. So I started cleaning and cleaning windows at church. And he walked right by me and did not say anything the very first time I saw him. And so the next time I saw him, I introduced myself, and he thought, well, it looks like, you know, God opened the door. So we started talking, and boy, by the end of that day, I had him washing windows with me at church. So we hit it off from there. We got engaged a few months later and married within 6 months of meeting each other, and we've been together ever since.
Oh, wow. Well, he clearly didn't see you the first time he walked by you, or he would have had whiplash.
He did. He did see me, but he said that he had just moved to the area. He didn't want to go to church because of a girl. So he just, you know, shelved it.
Oh, how funny. And then you guys now have 4 children. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Okay. And how did you switch him over from the brown and green foods?
Well, you know, when he got to my parents' house, because my parents have a culinary, you know, background. We have lots of herbs, fresh herbs. Lots of fruits are grown on my parents' property. They have a lot and a half at the city, and they have over 40 fruit trees. And so the first time he came to my parents' house, he was like, wow, this is like Willy Wonka's. You know, he's picking off blueberries off the bush and doing all this stuff. So we had a lot of fresh stuff available, but it was some of the other like recipes. And the very first time I made food for us, I noticed he didn't eat the dessert. And he didn't eat the dessert because he didn't know what was in it, number one. And which I don't blame him, because I don't even know what I had put in there. But he had talked to me about different things. And one of the first recipes that we made together was a healthy pancake and waffle recipe that was made with all kinds of nuts and seeds and other things. And it's actually in our new cookbook, The Essential Oils Diet. And so that was like a first really go at it together. And the thing is that he never wrote anything down, but you know, having a mom as a culinary, like you wrote everything down. And my dad, an agri-scientist, like everything is written down so that you can adjust and make changes and then, you know, make new recipes or, you know, oh, we got it. Now you can write it in pen. And so when I asked him what his recipe was when I was on the road, he had no idea. Well, I did some of this, maybe a cup of that, maybe a cup of this. And so I actually would get him to, you know, tell me what was in it. And then I had to like figure it out. And so that's kind of how it started. And then it was like recipe by recipe. He'd say, oh, you know what I miss? I miss this. Or I'm Italian. I miss this. And then it was a matter of, you know, finding different things, being able to substitute those in and out, and sharing those, because I grew up making spaghetti sauce, you know, from scratch and other foods from scratch, and so did he. So making it in a healthier way and trading out some of the things that aren't so healthy.
Yeah, that's really, really important. And so what are some of your favorite foods that you guys like to make together?
Oh, he loves cookies. He does. He loves cookies. So we don't have dessert very often. But if he was ever to pick something, that's that he loves that. But we make a lot of salads, and not just your romaine lettuce type of thing, but we make a lot of fun salads. Like I make a potato salad, but it's with sweet potatoes. Or you can, mix and match different potatoes or other things into it. And we just take recipes that are maybe traditional and then move them or change them into something that is healthy. So as soon as I hear something, or he'll say, you know what, I've got a big hankering for lasagna. So, instead of using the beef or other things like that, we'll put spinach in there, using fresh almond pasta, and still our traditional sauce, but having different things in there. And we eat a lot of salads. We eat a lot of different Italian dishes and a lot of different traditional dishes that use a lot of herbs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I don't even use lettuce in salads anymore. I prefer using just a ton of cilantro, or I make broccoli sprouts, which are super easy to make.
Yes.
Those are really good. So tell me a little bit about your essential oils diet. That is really interesting to me because I've never heard of anything like that.
Okay, so it really, and the cover kind of describes it perfectly. It's lose weight and transform your health with the power of essential oils and bioactive foods. So, one of the things that we found was that using essential oils in your cooking is not it's just like an herb. There's certain recipes that we've added, like you're talking guacamole and other things, where you might use lemon juice or lime juice, but you have lemon or lime essential oils. So really utilizing some of the culinary aspects as well that are also really good detox for the body. And cilantro essential oil. How nice is it to have fresh cilantro, but then also use cilantro essential oil within the guacamole? It gives it a totally different dynamic. Plus, it's very detoxifying too. So we have a lot of different combinations of bioactive compounds as well. So it's a diet filled with the plant chemicals to help boost your immune system, which also helps to detox the body. And we believe that if you are eating the proper foods and the proper combinations of foods, then you will get to your natural ideal body weight.
You just made my head spin. Okay, so I eat broccoli sprouts because I know that there's a lot of nutrients in broccoli, but you get 100 times or something ridiculous out of broccoli sprouts. So right. What that made me think of, what you just said, is instead of eating cilantro, if you have cilantro essential oil, then it's probably a bigger concentration of the actual healthy phytochemicals and benefits than you get from eating the food. Would that make sense?
Well, it does. And essential oils are bioactive compounds. And so I encourage both because as soon as you said broccoli sprouts, I thought of, we do a cruciferous vegetable like coleslaw type thing. And you could totally do the same kind of things because you incorporate a lot of different things within, even using the sprouts and other things. But yes, like this, and this is the thing that I always tell people, our recipes are just a place to start because you're going to find out things because we are all have our own bio individuality. Mm-hmm. So you're going to find out things that work with your body, that you feel great. And then, you want to make adjustments appropriately. So really the essential oils lifestyle approach is to healthy living. And you want to have a diet rich in those bioactive foods, and essential oils is a part of that. Of course, the biggest thing, and I'm sure you think of this as well, is living a life of detox and regular cleansing. And one of the best ways to do that, of course, is exercise, eating the right foods, and then other ways of limiting your body's toxicity.
And what would those be?
So, like one of the things that we love, so we love infrared sauna. We love doing regular colon therapy, and of course you've got to limit your EMFs. There's so many components to it, and really when people are first on the detox voyage, one of the things that we have found is just taking the low hanging fruit, because when you look at it as a whole, it might seem overwhelming. So taking each room of your home, like the most toxic areas, your bathroom, your kitchen, your pantry, your garden, and basically taking all of those areas and even your laundry room and start to detoxify some of the things in there. What are the things that you're spraying, chemicals that you're using to clean with? And let's change that to have it be essential oil based and other things like that, so that you're thinking about what's going on in each space and trying to make each space less toxic, because that's also going to help your toxic load not take you over the top. Good air and water is another important thing.
Okay, so I understand water. We just got a really cool water filter that our RO broke. We needed to get a new one, and the new RO that we got has an alkaline or whatever, so it makes it alkaline water.
Sure.
What other tips do you have for better water? Because I drink a lot of water.
Yeah, and we do too. And actually, one of the things that was a big component when we moved, because we had toxic mold at our other house that we had had, and so we really struggled. We had gone so far with our health, and we started noticing things like I hadn't had allergies in 10 years, and all of a sudden I started having allergies. And so, and then my lungs and immune system were showing up at the chiropractor for like 3 or 4 months before it was like, what is going on here? And so, that affects a lot of things. But when it came to the water, we realized that, we were working so hard to have as clean a water as we could do in the house, but what were we putting on the plants outside? And, all of that, just like the thoughts that were going through our head. And so we ended up getting a whole house filtration system and an RO system. We also have an AquaTrue that is really good for, a tabletop type thing. But one of the things that that's in our book is our essential oil water concentrate. And basically utilizing essential oils in with that, taking liquid stevia to emulsify the essential oils, using Bragg apple cider vinegar, and even you can use fresh lemon or lime juice as well. But we have this recipe so that you can actually use your water as a detox tool as well.
Oh, I love that. So do you have can we get a recipe for the show notes page so people can check that out? Like that recipe?
Yeah. Do you want me just to give you the recipe?
Sure.
Or do you want to? Okay. So you take a 1 gallon glass jug of, and what you want to do is you want to you can either do 10 drops of 2 different kinds of citrus essential oil, or you can do 5 drops of 4 different types. So we're talking lemon, lime, grapefruit, or orange. And then you want to put 1 to 2 eyedroppers full of liquid stevia, and then a dollop, which is going to be a teaspoon to a tablespoon of Bragg apple cider vinegar. I always say if people have not put Bragg apple cider vinegar in their water yet, then they should maybe start out. But, everybody who I've ever had do it, and I don't care if they're 20 years old or 65 years old, they have grown to really embrace the taste and actually think their water is almost naked without it. So for people who are like, oh, that sounds scary, it's not scary. And then you want to do a little bit, so I would say a teaspoon of either fresh squeezed lemon or lime juice in there. And then you fill the rest of the gallon all the way up. So you can do that, and you use it as a concentrate. So basically at our house, we use everything in glass. So let's say I had a quart size glass jar. I would fill half of it up with my essential oil water concentrate, and either the rest with RO or purified water, or one thing that I do, especially because I work out very vigorously, is I use the Ultima, which is a stevia-based electrolyte, which has a lot of the trace minerals and stuff in that. And I'll do 1 scoop of that, because it says actually 1 scoop to 8 ounces of water, but I'm telling you, I would never do that because you don't need that much. And I actually do it just for 1, quart-sized jar, and I fill the rest up again with water. Whether it's, the RO or even distilled water, doesn't matter. Okay. But pure water. So, and you drink that, and the cool thing is it helps cut fat. It helps, especially when I'm preparing for Mrs. Georgia, that is a staple for us for detoxing.
Okay, so you just opened up another can of worms. Gosh, I have so many questions for you, and I feel bad. Dr. Z's just all silent out there, and
he actually gave me the other earphone. He said maybe she and I can do a talk later.
I feel so bad. Okay, so what about laundry? So we have a house full of gym rats, and you know how sometimes like you have like say some leggings or whatever that you just can't get. They're clean, but you can't get that smell out of them.
Right.
Do you have an essential oil cure for that? When you said laundry room a while back, I was like, oh my gosh, I have problems in the laundry room.
Okay, so, we always try to give all the options on our website, which is naturallivingfamily.com. And so we have on there laundry soap that you can make at home. And but the other thing is that when you don't have time to DIY, we try to also give people suggestions as well. And one of the companies that we use it's called My Green Fills, and there is a couple products that they have that are very natural. And if I have to soak something, because let me tell you, we have 4 kids, and if you are living a life of detox, there are sometimes some poopy diapers out there that are intense. So our baby, if she messes something up, then they have a product called Oxy Boost, which is like a healthier version of an Oxy type product where it has oxygen, that they use in there. And then they have like a little, and it's an enzyme stain booster. And so I will literally put a little bit of soap, each of those things in the sink, and I will let things soak. And it does take care of it. It is amazing. And so I use that combination there. But then, like I said, if you wanted to make your own laundry detergent, then we have a laundry soap that would last you so long. So it would last you months. So that's another option, especially if you have a large family, you're on a budget, you can definitely start there. But the My Green Fills is also very affordable as well.
Okay, cool. And then what is the scoop with Mrs. Georgia?
So I had been in pageants much of my life, and so I really loved all of that it did for women. I learned how to interview, how to speak and talk and all of that kind of stuff, and that was something that I took into my adulthood, and I ended up coaching people once I got married, and I had aged out of the programs that I had been in. I had gone 3 times to the Miss Michigan for the Miss America organization, and twice to the Miss Michigan USA, and was finalist both places. And so, years later, I had heard about a Mrs. program, and I had done all my research and wanted to be involved with the Mrs. America system. And so we were down here, and I'd already had 3 kids at the time and started competing, and got first runner-up at Mrs. Georgia. And then I had another baby, and then I was first runner-up again. Wow. And so it's interesting. I've won each part of the competition at different times, but this year we want to win this. And so it's been a lot of fun. And in our book, we talk about, whether it's that you're trying to, because people aren't usually as active in the winter, and they are more active in the other times during the year. And so if that's the case for you, you might want to, tighten and tone or lose a few pounds for that. Or let's say you've got a wedding or something coming up, and you want to just shave off the extra little pounds. We kind of talk about, because there's a difference when you're in pageants of being normal and being, great and fit and healthy, and, just taking off those last tightening and toning pounds and stuff like that. So we talk about just the techniques and what to do. And especially if people have more than 100 pounds to lose, there's also techniques that you can use, especially for the skin and how to do all of that, much more healthy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And, gosh, you're so interesting. You have such a great background. What else do you work on, or how else do you help people that you haven't already discussed?
Okay, so there's two phases of our essential oils diet, and I kind of talked about the background a little bit and a couple of the recipes. But so we have a fast track program, and basically, in all the research actually says that it does not take 28 days to change a habit. It actually, on average, takes 66 days to change a habit. So for people that are and we all know that there's different bio-individuality. And so for people that are looking for something different, that they've tried a lot of things, and let's say that they even have problems with their hormones, or they have lower thyroid, and they've tried everything and they can't seem to find something that works for their body. So we have like a 60 days. Give us 60 days and try this, because this will really help. It helps reset your metabolism, because we're helping them detox off of a sugar and coffee, and start to, and that's usually a quick win right there. If an issue with grains, sugar, coffee, 10 pounds comes off very easy. But there is a detox that you have to walk through with that. It also helps to balance hormones, retrain the taste buds, and set new healthy habits. So we kind of focus on the whys and, what we're doing. And what we have found is that a lot of people who have, let's say more weight to lose than others have traded one thing for another, no matter what diet they've been on, or no matter what lifestyle they've been living. And in fact, and when you take that component out, because unlike anything else that you detox, we need food to live. And so because that's part of it, then it takes a retraining of, when we're dealing with this or that in our life, are we going to food for it, or are we going to, to prayer, or are we actually dealing with what we're going through? And once you have those things addressed, then it starts getting into where you can actually utilize food as a tool instead of something that you've used, as a crutch.
Yeah, I saw a funny quote. It said something like, you put it on your refrigerator and it says, not sure what you're looking for, but the answer is not in here.
Exactly. So, for the first 30 days, we do more of a fast track, and we found a lot of people like to stay on the fast track, but since we believe that everybody has an ideal body weight, really the lifestyle phase is for maintaining. It's, a lifestyle. It's for life. It's how we live our life. And unless I'm, training for a pageant, which I am right now, then, I do go back on the fast track for those type of things, but it's helping you set up for lifelong success. We do not do cheat days. We don't believe in that, because if you're doing that, I had a trainer once that said, it's not cheating that kills you. It's consistent cheating that kills you. And it's true. So having a standard and not letting that go. Regular detoxification, of course, colon cleansing. We operate out of the 5 Ps, which my pastor always talked about, and that's proper planning prevents poor performance. So no matter if we're traveling, like I bring a food suitcase, or I have a go bag if we're driving. So I fly with a food suitcase, or I have a go bag. And yes, I do get little love letters from the TSA in there from time to time, but they've never taken anything. So but minimizing the toxins, doing as many things as you can DIY at home, body products, ditching the hand sanitizer. It is toxic. It has tricyclican, a registered pesticide in it. You can easily make your own. It can be as simple as oils and water, or it can be done correctly by the aromatherapist. And we have the recipe for that too on our website. So, but for people who are really wanting to make a change, start with the low-hanging fruit and work your way up.
That is hilarious. But you know that Colgate also has triclosan in it. So that,
oh, I know.
So the FDA banned triclosan in, you know, all personal care products, and Colgate, I believe, is the only company that is like digging their heels in the sand and not doing it.
Well, and there's other companies too. Your favorite bath and body companies. Anything that has a perfume is toxic. It is absolutely toxic, and it will affect your hormones. It will affect so many things. And you know, in our process of detox, I mean, we had the wallflowers and we had the other things all plugged in everywhere. And I really, it was something I had to like pray about, because I was attached to these and that smells. But I'll tell you, as soon as you detox from it, you can't go anywhere that has any of those things. And those, when you go like into a restaurant, even at a healthy place, even at some vegan restaurants, they still have the thing in the bathroom where you sit down and it goes, psst. You know, and you're like, oh no, I'm getting like covered in like chemicals over here. And it's true. Like as you retrain your taste buds, you also are retraining your nose and the other parts of your body. And those things that had been desensitized become sensitive again. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for reals. And that's just like with food. Like a lot of people say, oh, I don't have a gluten sensitivity. I'm like, yeah, you wait until you lay off of it for a few months and then drink it again or eat it again and then see, you know, that you don't get inflammation, right? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah. Oh, yes. And the thing is that people don't realize it takes, because most people's colons aren't that clean, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to really get that stuff out of your system. So once you have gone through a detox process and you add something back, then people are like, well, I don't understand. I had like yeast that came out of my armpits or under my breasts or in my feet. And it's like, well, that's your body's expression telling you that this is not good for you. And, you know, there's positive ways to have nice treats and other things. We always say, well, you can have your gluten-free cake and eat it too, because if you do things in the right way and you have good recipes, then you're not ever going to be without. Like our kids do not go without. Like at school, I have a no tolerance policy for anything except for what I bring for them. But I have a special bag of treats at school that are Mama Z approved. And so if somebody, you know, if it's Johnny's birthday and Johnny's mom forgot to call the school and then they forgot to tell me, that's okay. My kids are going to be fine because I have a bag of extra special snacks just ready for them. But if I know about it at their birthdays, because we don't do snacks that often, if I make healthy cupcakes per se, I'll get one of them out of the freezer because we eat it at the actual birthday party, but then we don't eat it again. I keep the leftovers for birthday parties for school because we have, you know, just a little bit, because I don't want dessert to be a habit. I want dessert to be a dessert.
Right, right. What kind of desserts do you allow?
So it all depends. Like we have, we do a lot of different things here. I even have a recipe, and I believe it's on our website, for your own version of like peanut butter, chocolate, like a Reese's Pieces or, little cups. And so basically what I do is I use cacao and I melt it down with some coconut oil. Or if there are some healthy cacaos out there that are now in bars, which they never used to have, and then you would melt it in a double broiler. And then you would use any kind of organic almond butter or organic peanut butter or anything like that, even a sunflower butter. We've done it every different way because I have one son that he cannot have any of the other nuts. So then you melt that down and you almost get it not to where it's completely melted, but you leave little chunks in there. So then when you pour them in little cupcake things, then you have the chunks of the nut butter in there, and then they have their own healthy one, but it will melt in your mouth and in your hand. So we keep them in the freezer.
Okay. I totally make those too. I do the same exact recipe. I used to layer them, but then they'd come apart.
Right.
But those
and
are
you can
amazing.
Use peppermint essential oil in there. You can do cinnamon essential oil. You can do an immunity blend in there. You can make it fun and different. And I'm sure because you like herbs, you can also take chocolate mint and cut that up in there, and you can't even see it. And they don't even know that it's there, but they get the benefits of the mint, and it's so good for the tummy and all of that. And then you can, of course, add essential oil to complement that flavor as well.
Oh, that sounds good. I love mint. And
Yes.
mint, I make green mint tea all the time. That's like one of my favorites.
That is awesome. Yes. And we grow our own stevia. So during the summer, when I make Dr. Z his lattes, his iced lattes that are literally, or iced tea, excuse me. It's, matcha green tea. And I make it much stronger. I'll do like equivalent of like 4 tea bags, or it can be the loose tea. And I'll cut 3 sprigs of the stevia from outside. And then I'll put like a hibiscus flower in there from one of our hibiscus trees. And then I let that marinate, and it is amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
Oh, that sounds good.
But you can put a sprig of mint in there. You can do lemon balm, which is a huge cancer fighter. You can do other things, and I always encourage people to get creative, because you can always do fun things with your water that you don't think to do.
Okay, that's awesome. I never would have thought to do that. That is a great idea. I should actually get a stevia plant.
Yes. And, probably out where you're at, you can, they're just starting to put that stuff out here. So it's probably already available in your area. I recommend to go to a local nursery, or some of the Whole Foods actually will have plant tables, and the organic stevia. And the cool thing about organic stevia is it will come back every year. So I do one in a pot and one in the ground, because I'll get the first starts, like mine has already started now. And you'll get the first starts earlier, and it will shoot back up. It'll shoot up literally from nothing. But the cool thing is if you have a dehydrator, then as the season progresses, and you do need to, because in order to use your herbs properly, you do have to use them in order to properly prune. So if you get 1 foot length, you give it a haircut and dehydrate those. What you do is you just peel the leaves right off of the stems, and then you can pulverize them and then have your own stevia. But the funny thing is, this is why I recommend liquid stevia instead of powdered, is that my plant is green. When I dehydrate it, it's still green. And when I take it off, it's still green. And when I pulverize it, it's still green. It's not white. And so a lot of times people don't like the stevia taste because they're used to the stevia that they have in the store that's white, which is processed more. And so you get more of a bitter taste, where the stevia extract is actually from the plant. So it is a lot easier, and the flavor is a lot more comparable.
That's a good point. I know, what is it mixed with when it's powder? Because I always use the liquid, but isn't it mixed with like cornstarch or something weird?
It all depends on the brand, even on the organics. It all depends on the brand. And we still use it for some things, because the one thing is, if you are using stevia, and it is the way that I process it, you need to do it in more of a blended fashion, because it does get kind of like a, you know how when you would take a balloon and rub it on your hair,
yeah,
it kind of makes everything fry? Well, it has this like magneticness to it, kind of like how real matcha tea is too. And so it'll like static cling. And so if you're using it in a recipe, it's always going to be a recipe that I blend, because then I know I can actually disperse it, and it's not going to be in chunks.
Okay.
Because once it hits water, it gets in chunks.
I'm going to just have to get a copy of your book. You have so many good ideas, and I think that it's so outside of the box thinking that a lot of people haven't even brought up as a topic, Well,
that's awesome. Well, our thought and prayer really was like, okay, this has taken us, I'm 40 now, and this has taken us at least 15 years to really document like what we've done. And I remember the Holy Spirit just saying to me to take mental snapshots during this whole process, because, and I didn't know why, but I really wanted to, and my husband wanted to give people the hacks that it's taken us 15 years to do, and just fast forward the clock for so many people, because we've been living in such a toxic world for a long time. And not just, the toxic food and the toxic things around us, but even toxic relationships and other toxic things. So if we can help people have the hacks to get past those things, then we can really move on to, just like what we were talking before, to what God's purpose is for us and actually fulfilling it, because it's not for us to be in the fight or flight response at all times. It's to actually do what we were called to do on this earth.
Yeah, that's so true. And we live in busy land, and so often we don't do that. We don't take that, time to just stop and listen. And, it's so funny, and I think you'll appreciate this, but so many of us pray, right? Like we just pray, but do we ever stop and listen for the answer?
Yes. And it takes that quiet time. And so when I do my infrared sauna, and for years, we're just putting actually one in our house now. But I mean, for 10 years, I've driven and I have a membership for an infrared sauna. And I would take that time and I would meditate while I was in there and for that purpose of not having a goal of not thinking of anything, because we have to allow that time, because if we are putting out for other people and doing all that, we have to be able to fill ourselves up as well. And prayer is a great way of doing that. And meditation is a great way of doing that. We read our Bible too. But there's so many times that we're putting out all the time. And especially for us women, especially for us moms, self-care is really one of the first cares that you have to do, because if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of anybody else. Mm-hmm. And we only are given one body, and we're supposed to treat that as a temple. And so it really matters what we put in, what we put out, and that's every area of our life, mind, soul, and body.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. And like I always joke around, which we all do actually, is that even the flight attendant says to put your oxygen mask on first.
Yes. And how many times do we then cut? The first thing to go is self-care. And the first thing to go when you're busy with work is the gym or other things like that. And so, people will say, well, how do you do what you do? And well, the very first thing is, even on the days when you don't feel like it, you put your pants on and you go to the gym. And I go at 5 a.m. and I'll tell you, if you do that first thing, then you have a lot less excuses by the end of the day, because people that wait to work out till later, I find every mm-hmm. excuse under the sun happens, and like this catastrophe will happen that you have to address now, and all of this, when you can get more energy, work out early, and then it will force you to go to bed earlier, which will force you to get up earlier, and you'll get more done during the day.
Yeah, totally. And that's what I do. I teach fitness classes, and
me too. Yeah.
So my classes are always around 5:30.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's hilarious. And I always say that to people, like when I'm trying to work with a client, like just get it done.
Get it done. Just get it done.
Awesome.
And and when I talk to our tribe, and I'll like let them know, what, I was really sore today and I wasn't feeling it, but what, this is what I did, and I used these essential oils to help open up my body. And guess what? I did a long run today, and it not only just like opened everything up, but it helped loosen up the areas that I didn't think was going to loosen it up, and just kind of explain the process. Like, it just takes you putting on your pants on and going, put your head down and get it done.
Mm-hmm. And you'll never regret it.
No.
Right? But you will regret, pressing that snooze alarm and avoiding the gym for sure.
Absolutely.
So, okay. Well, awesome. I feel so bad for Dr. Z that we've just been chit-chatting like girls here.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We're actually in the last year and many years we've been recording classes. My organic gardening class and my salads class, my Italian class, all allergy friendly. And so we've been filming, and he's been producing and doing a lot of these things. So my gardening class just came out today. And so he's in the facilitation process of, working through all of that. And then with our new book coming out and that stuff. So he's been a busy guy. So don't worry about him. He'd love to chat with you, though.
That's
and
awesome.
He has a totally different component that he brings to the table, too. So it makes it fun.
Oh, cool. Then let's schedule him for another show, because
absolutely.
My husband's a landscape contractor, and he has a subdivision or a division called Green Streak Organic, because we live on a 5-acre certified organic farm. And
amazing.
yeah, so when you said your family had fruit trees, we have 80.
I love it.
Yeah, chickens. We have an organic vegetable garden. So yeah, that's
amazing. I love it. And it teaches kids, and people don't realize this but it's getting more and more because everything has been so fast food, fast this, we want this now. And people are done with that. Like it's done. And people want more of a slow food movement and learning things because so many people my age never learned how to cook. Thankfully, I did because my mom had us do a meal a week. We meal prepped and we learned how to make one meal a week. Now it's a lot healthier these days, but working with your kids out and gardening and in the dirt and earthing and just being present with nature is so important as part of the detox process because you need that connection with the earth.
Oh, so you guys do earthing?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. Oh my gosh, girl, we could go on forever. That's for the next show. So
yeah.
How can our listeners find you? What's your website? Where are you on social media?
Yep. So our website is naturallivingfamily.com, and we do have a podcast. It's naturallivingfamilypodcast.com. But also we have two books that are available everywhere books are sold, and our book, The Healing Power of Essential Oils. You can go to healingpowerofessentialoils.com, and our new book is The Essential Oils Diet, coming out May 7th, and that URL is essentialoilsdiet.com.
Oh, that's awesome. I got to pick up that book because that's the one area of health that I know is beneficial that I've never really deeply dove in and studied it. So thank you so much for your wonderful wisdom and information for coming on the show today, girl.
Oh my gosh, it's such an honor. I love what you do. Keep doing what you do and encouraging and inspiring women to be their best selves. I think that it's amazing. And if you're not doing it, nobody is. And it's important for women to hear your message and to have as many amazing guests as you've had and I've followed. And it's an honor.
Oh, well, you're so sweet, Mama Z. It's wonderful knowing you. So thanks again so much.
Yes, thank you.
Oh my gosh, we could have talked for hours. She had so much to say. And her book, The Healing Power of Essential Oils, sounds absolutely amazing. I must add that to my wellness library, and I recommend you checking it out as well. So thank you so much for listening. If you love this episode, please head on over to iTunes, give us a rating and review so more people can find the show, and decide which one of her amazing tips are you going to apply to your week. Okay? Super important that we take action every week to make our life better, our bodies healthier, and happier. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.